about these guys, but there's a systematic way of placing certain things that, because of the geographical position, it opens different energy channels, and this is a yogi system way. So stay tuned, because I will teach you something that will blow you away. Like little temples over here. They have a purpose for it. Jungle, man. Shit. It's really amazing that these people were able to build something so beautiful right in the shore of the sea, in the middle of the jungle. Really amazing. Welcome, what's going on, guys? Pablo from Style Systems over here. Now this video, I will try to keep it as short as I can. As I already told you, some of my videos on this channel will be more about the spiritual things and different dimensions of life, because that's something that I'm very into. You know, I've been doing this for more than 6 years now, diving into magic, diving into the occult, the Gnostic knowledge, and all of these different aspects, right? Also yoga and all of this. So on this video I will show you, as I'm showing you, certain correlations and a little story that allows you to just connect the dots. Because ultimately what we need to achieve is we need to understand that everything is connected. Absolutely everything is connected. It doesn't matter if you saw it in, I don't know, in England, and then you saw it in India, and then you saw it in South Mexico or South America. We all come from the same source. And when you start connecting the dots, that means that your identity is enhanced. That means that your identity is a little bit wider, and you will no longer feel like or be like, oh, I'm just this, I'm just that, because one of the fundamental problems of society and the world is a very small identity. If I identify myself with just this piece of land, just this little tiny thing, everything else that is different, I will feel threatened by it, and I will defend this little thing, this little piece. And this is where we start to get a little bit of problems and disagreements and fights and all these things, right? So when you start connecting the dots, you realize what the word yoga means. The word yoga comes from the old Sanskrit, which means union. And the ultimate goal with yoga is to enhance your identity and your perception to such a place where you realize that you are one with the cosmos, and the cosmos is you and you are the cosmos, because from cosmic to atomic it's all the same. So because of all my studies and everything and my path that I have been doing, I came to the realization that, you know, I'm not here to teach you much about yoga, but I will teach you something. I will give you certain names that I hope that you do your own research on them. For example, the Anunnakis. I just told you one crucial name in regards how we came to be as human beings. So one of the Anunnakis, and one being, you can call it divine, you can call it an extraterrestrial, whatever you wish to call it. You can call it a god, came to this earth, to a specific place, and he started, well, she started to explore all of the possibilities that this life and this world has to offer. And after he came, or she, because you cannot give it like a sex, because it's not from this world. But hopefully it makes sense to you right now. After this deity or this entity ended all of his studies, there was a lot of people, a crowd gathered with this extraterrestrial, with this deity, with this god, because he came from the skies. And then at first a lot of people were there gathering around him or her or it, and they were amazed because this god or this entity was huge. It was almost like a giant, right? And he didn't even pay attention to them. Literally, he did not pay attention to them. He was doing his sadhana, which means spiritual work, or he was within himself, eyes shut down, just meditating, contemplating himself, not even aware of what was happening outside. So eventually the people in the crowd started to dissipate because they grew tired of not getting anything. Only 7 people, only 7 men remained there because they saw an inner peace. They saw something in this being. They were like, we want to learn whatever the fuck this being is doing, because he seems at ease. He seems such in such an amazing state that we want to know, we want to talk to it. So eventually this entity, which he never gave his name, actually he never ever gave his name. These people, they gave him many different names. They call him Shiva, they call him Shambho, they call him Adi Yogi, and this is exactly where we're heading at. This is the creator of the science of yoga, right? The first, they call it the Adi Yogi, which means in old Sanskrit, the first yogi. Which this only means that this entity that came to these wonderful realizations of exploration, the inner self and the outer self, came to this realization. He started to realizing that there were 7 men around him, and by the time he opened up his eyes, he saw them, these 7 sages, as we know them, or these 7 men, which they came to be the 7 Saptarishis. I'm giving you a lot of names. You should do your own research on them, right? So they talked to him and they said, you seem to know a lot of life and the cosmos, and you seem to know all the mysteries of creation, so we want to learn whatever it is that you're doing. And he told them, you're not worthy. Do these little exercises and see if you're worthy. Well, a lot of years, and when I say a lot of years, I'm saying more than 50 years went by. More than 50 years went by, and they were practicing what little exercise the Adi Yogi or Shiva gave them. After this happened, Shiva again, or this entity, which he doesn't have a name, because Shiva in old Sanskrit means that which is not, which means nothing, right? So he never gave his name. He then turned again his head and saw these 7 Saptarishis, these 7 men, and he saw that they were prepared. They were ready to acquire all this knowledge that he had been studying. Okay, after all these long years, they became a receptacle of light and of knowledge. So there's when the moon, the position of the planet and everything. There's a lot of myths and a lot of different correlations between the movement of the stars and the moon. There's a specific day where the Adi Yogi, Shiva, turned where the 7 Saptarishis were standing, and he started just downloading all of his knowledge onto the 7 Saptarishis, which each and every one of them, he gave them something different and something unique. He did not give the same knowledge to all of them, which is something that a lot of people have. They have a misconception of yoga. You know, people think that only yoga is about, you know, twisting your body and making these, you know, headstands and doing all of these things. And it's about, some people think that it's only about exercise, that it will allow you to have a healthier life and have a, you know, like a different than a six-pack, but, you know, more of a nice body, blah, blah, blah. And it's not about that. There are 4 types of yogas. Well, there are many different types of yogas, but the ones that were taught were 4 different types of yoga, which I will not cover in this video. I'm giving you a lot of information, I know, so if you have more questions, you can always reach out to me and do your own research. You know, typing these words on Google, go back, rewatch this video a bunch of times, and then search it on YouTube, and you will realize that what I'm talking about is the truth. So this very day where he started the Adiyogi, this is where he came to this, well, he gained this name, the Adiyogi, the first yogi, the first teacher to teach all of these things. So after a long story short, he taught all of his knowledge, and he taught all of the science, because this is a science. This is like kind of like an art form, but more than an art form, more than a philosophy. This is not a philosophy, this is not a way, this is not a lifestyle, this is a science that allows you to explore life to the fullest and to become literally the best version of what a human or a piece of life can be. A science, a scientific way that you can prove it. There's proof. You have to experience it on your own. So after this happened, he started sending the 7 Saptarishis, his 7 disciples. He started sending them out into the world. He sent someone into south of India. He sent someone to Europe. He sent someone to this place, into that place. And one of them he sent to South America. And this is where it gets really, really interesting. Because before I got into yoga, you know, I was studying a lot of different things. I started, at one point, my studies led me to the Toltecas. This is an American, a Mexican term, you know. This is of pre-Hispanic cultures, which a lot of people believe that the Toltecas or the Toltecas were a culture, but this is not a culture. This is a way of being. This is like the word, similar to the word yoga. This is a possibility. This is something like a science, something that you can become. This is not a culture. Like, you cannot say that yoga is a culture that only in India you can learn. No, yoga is a system, right? Well, the Toltecayotl or the Toltecas, it's a way of being, certain teaching, certain systematic ways of doing things that allows you to become a god, literally. It allows you to reach mukti or reach nirvana or reach the ultimate state of life, of your being. When I came to this realization, I started noticing I started connecting the dots, and I started noticing a lot of similarities between yogic culture and different cultures and the Aztec and the Mayan culture. More like the Mayans, but both of them, they were kind of like, they have a lot of similarities, right? And even if you study history, the pre-Hispanic history, the Aztecs and the Mayans, you will see certain little figurines like this, and they're doing kind of like a posture of yoga. So there are trails that these teachings were passed on into South America. Not only because of the figures and the little, you know, things and the paintings, but also in the pyramids. Why else do you think that there's certain positions in the entire globe, only in certain places, in the equator and all of these things, and based on the magnetic fields, certain places they constructed pyramids, and they are connected. Whether you are in Egypt and then you are in fucking, you know, in Chichen Itza in South America, you can find a certain correlation between them. You can find certain similarities, and you can connect the dots. So one of these Saptarishis came into South America and started teaching all of these things in his own way. And then that's how the Mayans, or the Mayas, became really, really enlightened. They became really mystical. And on this beautiful place that I showed you, which is called Tulum. It is a place of worshipping the god of wind. Not only that, but you can also find the similarities between different cultures like Hermes Trismegistus, Thoth in the ancient Egypt. This is the only god, the messenger god. This is the only god that had a connection between the world of the gods and our world, and he came and he gave us a lot of different things. He gave us the Kybalion. Well, he did not give us the Kybalion, but he gave us the universal laws. And you can find places to worship this god or this deity, this entity, in different places in the entire world. And in this video that I just showed you, one of the temples of him, the Mayas, they used to worship him as the god with wings that came down to earth and gave them a lot of their knowledge. So it's really interesting to notice the similarities between different cultures and how we came to be. And this is when it gets really interesting, right? So literally I saw it. I saw in the way that it's constructed, this temple, Tulum. It is constructed in such a way that energy fields will travel, that even if you are not aware of them, they will enhance. They will not open up and they will not activate, but they will enhance and they will touch one of your chakras. Chakras are the energetic fields all around us, and they are points where they meet. This is basically what it means. Chakra in the old Sanskrit means a triangle, or it means a circle. It means like it means a wheel. But if you study the chakras and if you study all of this, the yogic sciences, you will understand that chakras are points where they meet a lot of different energies, a lot of different nadis is what they're called, and they create a triangle. So even in the architecture, this is something that you can learn, really study it. In the way that the architecture is made, you can have certain energies flow in a specific way. So specifically, you can channel an energy to activate a certain chakra, or to activate all of the chakras, for example, and to have a Kundalini experience. So in Tulum, I saw that, and it was really amazing. And I had a meditation session. I stood there under the sun. Whereas everyone is trying to hide from the sun, and they were like, there's a lot of wind. That's why this specific place, Tulum, is the only ancient temple in the entire world that was made right on the shore, right next to the sea. And it is made in a specific way where the wind and the position of the stars, where Venus is there. So you see, it's really amazing how these ancient civilizations knew so much about this. And it's almost like they were more wise than us, but it is not like that. We just have to open up our eyes and enhance our perceptions to experience this. It is there for us to take it. All of this knowledge is not that I am better than you, that I know more than you, that all of a sudden I have become a mystic and more wise than you. Is that I am very curious about all of these things. I did not came to this world just to eat and work and have money. I know that there's more things to it, and this curiosity, this hunger for more, is what allowed me to understand more of the mysteries of the universe and the cosmos. So if you ever are in Tulum, I hope that you meditate there and just allow the energies there to teach you something, because what I learned there, this is only for me. I will not teach it and I will not share it into the world. This is only for me. I mean, you will experience it in my teachings and in the way that I talk and the way that I am, but I will not share, or at least not on this video, my experience on the meditation session that I had right there in Tulum, because like I told you, I was under the sun for about 3 hours, and in my experience it was like 10 minutes. And even my girlfriend, she left me because she was like, I don't know, I mean, I tried to talk to you, but you were not there, and literally you were having I don't know what experience. And she already knows, that I'm very into these things, and she did a little yoga session with me, like a little energy session with me, but then she left. and people were around me and they were talking. She told me that she took some pictures because people were talking, and I was just on my trance. And this is because there are certain places where energies, it's like a conviction point. I don't know if I said that correctly or not. So anyway guys, I hope this video enlightens you a little bit and shines a light on deeper aspects of life. Like the example I just gave you, that someone very far came into South America and he taught all of these things, and there's trails where you can see it, the similarities between cultures that in quotes they have nothing to do, they are so different, but if you look past beyond the facade and all of this, you will realize that it is all the same, and they are very much connected. When I learned this truth, I was literally, my mind was blown, and now I just connect the dots, and now I see it even more. Every day I see it more and more and more and more. And this allows me to see things for what they are, to be more at peace and at ease, and to live life to the fullest. So this is my wish to you guys. Be the best version of yourself, and I will see you on the next one.